hated myself for a long time because I wanted the approval of other people. And you start to realize that living for other people will never give you the love that you want. You start to realize that the world is never gonna fulfill you in the ways in which you want to be fulfilled. I thought that the money would make me better, make me more, make me feel more of something. I thought that if I achieved enough, I will be enough. And all that's wrong. And it doesn't matter what level it's at. This is an inside job of you liking you. And for a long time, and still I struggle with liking myself. I struggle with loving myself. I struggle with accepting myself and being myself. Because being yourself is the hardest thing we do in life. People struggle with this for forever. People struggle with just being them. And knowing that whoever they are, whether it's weird, indifferent, awkward, that's who they are, and they have to own that one day. And I'm a weird kid. I'm a super duper weird kid. I'm a goofball in so many freaking different ways, but as I've grown up, I've tried to lose that kid that I always have been. We grow up, but that doesn't mean that we're not kids anymore. When I was a kid, I was the goofiest kid. I was the happiest kid. I was the silliest kid. I was everything I ever desired to be. And I look back at those home videos and I'm like, where did this kid go? At some point I started to see myself walk, and I started to be like, oh yeah, he sees that the world's watching him a little bit now. He sees like, yo, people like have their eyes on me. Like, people actually judge you, and we're told how to live. We're primed how to live. We're told what's good and what's not good. And a lot of things are forced on us that we never asked for, and we have a lot of challenges and we have a lot of hardships that we never asked for either. Everybody's dealt cards. I like to put it like that. And I like to phrase life as some type of gamble, because everything is a chance and everything is a risk. But everybody was dealt a hand of cards. And some of those cards for the game that you're playing aren't going to be good. But there's always a way to play your hand. There's always a way to go about the hand and the cards that you've been given to win the game and be the best that you can be with that hand. But you're great in thousands of different ways. You're wonderful in millions of different ways. And people are going to tell you, you shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't chase that dream. You shouldn't be this. You shouldn't. And they'll tell you so many things and try to put you in a box. And the fact of the matter is, it's like, you have to choose to say, no, I'm going to be fucking me. I'm going to be me, and I'm going to love me. And I don't care what you think. I don't. And even if it's your mom, even if it's your dad, even if it's your sister, even if it's your brother, you can't care what they think. You have to be the most authentic person that you are. Maybe they don't like it, but are they living your life? Or do they have to sleep those long nights where you can't sleep at night because you're not being yourself? Do they have to be in your mind every single day? No, they don't. Their pain isn't your pain. Their cards aren't your cards. And it's a crazy thing to think that maybe you won't be liked by anybody. Maybe you won't be accepted by everybody. It's crazy to think that it's perfectly fine that not everybody likes you. I thought, I want everybody to like me. I want to be everything for everybody. I was a people pleaser. I wanted everybody to like me for me. But then I started to realize not everybody likes me for me because I'm a certain type of person. And now today I'm just like, if you don't like me, if you're not my type of person, you can fuck off. Sadly, you can fuck off. I'm going to be me no matter what, through and through. I'm going to be me. And the reason I'm saying it like this, and the reason I'm kind of strict on it and saying, dude, I'm not going to try to be somebody else for you. I'm not going to try to conform for you. I'm not going to try to marginalize myself and put myself in a box and lower myself because you're insecure about who you are and you're fearful about who you are and you're fearful of the things that you do. You limit yourself on the things that you can do. I'm not going to do that in no way, shape, and form because, bro, that brought me to the depths of insanity. That God made me a way that wasn't good enough to be in this world. And now that I say it out loud, it's like God made every single person so great and so beautiful and so wonderful. But yet, we start to get it convinced by this world, by the people that we interact with, that the person that God made us wasn't perfect. And that threw me off of my purpose. That threw me off of every hint of who I was, because I was like, so you're telling me I have to be a certain way, and no, you don't. You don't. And that was a pain that I felt, that I felt at my core, that I wasn't accepted by my parents. That was incredible. Like incredible. And I still feel it to this day. And I talk about drug addiction, I talk about alcoholism, and I'm an alcoholic and addict, and I went through addiction, and I'm still going through addiction and still recovering. And man, that pain was a pain that's hard to swallow. That your parents might not like you. The closest people to you might not understand you. With this dream, with everything that I want to do with my life, they might not agree with it. They might not see it. They might not want me to do it, and they might talk against it. But this is what I was put on this earth to do, and God showed me and God told me. So who are they to tell you what God showed you, what God told you you are, who God showed you to be? Yeah, you're not perfect. No, you're not perfect in any way, shape, and form, but you're perfect in His light. He made you a certain way. Yeah, I curse. Yeah, I do this. Yeah, that's who I am right now. But the whole point is I'm being the authentic person that I am right now. And that might be dark and that might be ugly, but somebody's there. The courage of me putting this out, the courage of me stepping in front of the camera, somebody is here. Somebody is like me. Somebody feels the things I feel. Somebody feels uncomfortable with the fact that they are told to be something that they are not. And when we get to high school and when we get to all these places where we now want acceptance from friends, we now want to be a part of everybody, that intuition of, oh, my parents even told me, bro, that not to do what these kids are doing, but at the end of the day, my parents are also telling me to be somebody that I'm not, and their ideal version of me. And that goes back to my point of perfectionism. I think some people are so blinded by their own greed and their own ambitions and their own thinking that they don't even realize that they're putting something on you that you don't need. The perfectionism, the ideal of perfectionism, and the ideal that, oh, I have to try to control this person because he's gonna make me look a certain way if he does certain things and he becomes a certain person because that reflects on me. And once you realize that everybody kind of has this selfishness and that all they're thinking about kind of is their self, you're like, okay, yeah, I got you. You're thinking about yourself. You're thinking about your own fear. You're thinking about you're capabilities. You're thinking about all the things in which you know you can do and you know that you can't do, and you're putting all those limitations on me. I never would say to somebody something's not possible, because I believe all things are possible. But if there's another person and they don't think a lot of things are possible in life, and they've lived a certain life, they're gonna say, yo, that's not possible, man. I've never seen that happen. Like I've never seen that happen in my life, so why the fuck would it happen in yours? But there are people out there that are like you, and you're not alone. You're not alone in being who you are. You're not alone in the struggles that you face. And I really thought, like, dude, I'm the only person that must be dealing with this identity crisis of, like, not knowing who I am, because everybody acts like they know who they are. They're just so perfect in so many different ways, and that they're thriving in life. Nobody posts on social media that they're super duper depressed. I mean, some people do, but I mean, we don't see it. And it's true. It's true that we're all just trying to figure out how to be ourselves the best way that we possibly can be. And I want to be everything. I want to be perfect. But perfect is something that to the world I will never be. Perfect is something I will always be to God.